at saveourwater.com. At Bright, we totally get it. You want the best for your smile, and you want it now. So straighten your teeth from home for thousands less than braces. Yeah, the choice is there.
Songs. For the same reason we play scratchers for the California lottery. Because a little play will make your day.
All right, everybody's ready for our triple toss-up. Fun and games, the category. Here's the first of our $2,000 puzzles. Ricky.
Basketball?
Yeah, you got it. Wow. You took a shot, you got it. Here's number 2.
Volleyball?
Yeah. He's getting the 10,000 tonight, but we have 2,000 left to be won.
Hello.
Hello.
Galingaw-lingaw pa. Come on, please take your seat at mga barikos na. Walay tambas barikos. Okay. Welcome mga ka-birds. 53 years after graduation is a feat, a blessing. It's God-given. And we are still cool and amazing, di ba? Amazing kata. Mga katalon pamingon na sila, sana all. Kaya ako sa mga tuntubag, mga good
Ricky.
We are a generation, we are baby boomers, huh? But now we are generation Agun, Sakit, amay tayo sa diba? Ay, siya. Alam ka, lano man na, alam, nanamot lagi siya, naniwang lagi siya. We are that generation. But we still thank the Lord that we're still here, alive, and thinking. Although, sometimes it's also may maintenance role.
Hey!
Maintenance.
Hey!
Pilay mo sugar. Imong presyo. Oh. Arthritis. Pagkuban pa. And thinking of hair.
All right. I recount $1,000. So category. So you're $12,000 worth of deal. What do we have?
Back in the saddle again.
Yeah.
Wala. Dili sila to kay may pagka-bold ko, no?
Excruciating.
Anyway, 50 Shades of Gray, because na may ka-color of red, like ka-color of grayer na, kikoloran itong po, kikoloran itong brown, kikoloran itong pink, pink. Anyway, whatever. Anyway,
Just barely. $21,950. He's going to the bonus round, and he's going to pick these categories.
It's worked for me last time.
Yeah, I hope so. Nice. You still have money left for the bonus round? Yes, you do. You just said you have.
remember that. That's memory.
This is a
His secret can call him Jules.
Except Jules, he's more of a Gary. He said he was blind. I want. Okay, you know what happens to
PG-13.
we go with greasy mess. Free?
With Mr. Clean, free. Cosmic message is
classmates.
More powerful, and it works on content. Clean free, just free. What?
50 years. Friend. Tungkol sa istorya 2019.
And it's 2 times.
So, 50th union, pero lagi si COVID.
I'm asking about that. Pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. If you're 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like COPD, asthma, diabetes, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 20 is approved in from 20 strains of the bacteria that one dose. Only if you allergic to the vaccine or adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Effects were pain and swelling at the injection. I chose to get vaccinated with Prevnar because just one dose can help protect me from cough and pneumonia. You're about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20 today.
Life-changing.
Offices of Larry have complex, big rig cases.
Not every can handle it, but we have the attorneys and staff to do it right. We've been successful in 95% of our cases, and we've recovered more than $2 billion for our clients.
That's why we're the #1 accident firm in Southern California. We'll fight for you.
Hablamos español.
Well, everybody did very well. Plus, $150.
My girlfriend Megan, the most beautiful and funniest person in the world.
Wow. You're talking about restaurant. Professional restaurant.
Hablamos español.
Yeah, she was. I had
Well, everybody did very well. Plus, $150.
my girlfriend Megan, the most beautiful and funniest person in the world. Wow.
You're talking about restaurant. Professional restaurant.
Yeah, she was. I had
Well, everybody did very well. Plus, $150.
my girlfriend Megan, the most beautiful and funniest person in the world. Wow.
You're talking about restaurant. RST.
Also,
Cases. Yeah.
Suggestion ko sa atong budget. Ato lang budget ayaw ko gawin. Last 2 minutes. Kasi ba sa basketball ng last 2 minutes?
Time for bridge, time for.
Of course, itong muna yung topic ni Roy, the rest of our life, be the best of our life, or something like that. No? So we also try to consider that. Anyway,
Time for.
of course, nagprotesta daw si Voltaire, abin na bumupataw siya pumilig. Anyway, sige, so muna to. So I guess we'll take this time. Anyway, message bitaw po ni Father Ganian. And I was thinking about it. First, this is also part of our feedback siguro the next day. Pataw siya pumilig say napatay mga business. Sige, so mura to. So I guess we'll take this time. Kung napatay mga bucket list, message bitaw po dito. Ganian. And I was thinking siguro for the best of our yan mga bagay na si tao sa pumilig say so napatay mga sige, so mura to. I guess we take back time, the familia, bucket list, and all the things we want to live with. What are the things the best we would want them to remember? Anyway, so muna to, and good morning, we're all welcome. Kinahanglan welcome, pagkabot pa lang dali kasi kita na naman, no? But anyway, so welcome formally sa Vance, thank you for giving me the
Tres nga, astronaut.
Good morning, we're all welcome.
Singit lang kung gamay, guys. We are live on Zoom. Live po ta in YouTube. You can see the screen there. Ako rin giagi sa akong YouTube channel. If any of you or any board members connect lang sa YouTube, we are live on Zoom. Then live na what you can see on screen, see this live. So anyone, your family channel, if you ready, post. Ako sa tuhod na namigay mo ako sa tuhod. Kung gusto mo tanaw what's happening na with live on balayo niya sa live na what you can see on screen. And then eventually on I ask permission sa akong chat talaga wala ako sa tuhod na namigay sa members nga may mo mga ibang permiso we can create a private balayo niya by 70 FB page. Aso dito mag-communicate natin mga post ng pictures. It's private nga kita ra members ra ang mahimo kita ang makasulod admin nga mo control ang sa bill. So kunya manangin ba yung susunod yung mga dili yes as at the moment you can watch it on the pictures. It's private.
Members ra ang mahimo check. You know, we are very lucky. We have taking very, very much.
At the moment,
Guy, the Butch, a very famous movie director, stage director. You know, we are very musical director. And yan na taraling ng Butch. Butch ka na gano'n na ilimitate Butch. A very famous movie director may mga apo, mga anak, ang keke, mga anak na dong dahil ipaniw na gumagawa ang Hi, Ems. Hello, Ems. Our lunch is sponsored by Emily. Thank you, Em.
Hello.
And I think another lechon is coming from Roy. Hi, thank you sa mga sponsors. Karon ko no, mag-self-introduce ka. Video. Thank you, Em. Ayan na lang ko no.
Hello.
So, by people. Hindi makapay-introduce ko yung. Daganingan na kasi nga, kinsa ko na siya ng Amerikano. When it was posted that sa Viber, lingon sila na isa na tawingang kauban ni sila na kailan ng sepe kurang Amerikano ate ha murag Amerikano si Carol po kahapon wala kailang po yung si Carol kinsa ko na tawanan ate ko yung ha. Yes, we were classmates since grade 1. Kami ni Carol, we were classmates since grade 1. Siyo yung pero mag-check kisa galit ng anan ay ko sa even ko. Yes, we were classmates. Anyway. Let's introduce ato sa unahon sa piyong.
Only an Ocoyo logo. Even though
Kailan na kita pagkatinood. Una sa tanan, I'm so happy nga ano na ato po ang
it's the dance club.
kami ni Boulder, mag-ibalag sa Boulevard kay every Sunday na ito card dito. Amis go tayo, muntik moment. Wala na siya. Orang yun, hindi yan. Kaya ako lang ang sigutan. Sa una, ako sa uyong alam lang, hindi ako malimutan niya lang ako may gitarista atong Generate ng grupo ng Eastern. Ako to. Kaya mo na to.
Salamat yung ang among gitarista sa una. Oh, sunod. Butchoy.
Balak sa birthday. Every Sunday night.
Maliban doon ako, hindi ko mukuha. Mitchum! Mitchum! Saan si Ma'am Lagos? Ay, ma'am. Oh. Ma'am. First of all, pasalamat ko sa tanan. At itong core group kay me and my Cassie, kami member Mercedes, si Mercedes, si Michi. Kami, we're only 2 years in the school, first year and second year of really. When the first reunion I thought was 2005.
Yeah.
Kung i-contact mo lang yung family, ko nga.
They're around wait.
Here's someone, yung mga graduate from lahat ng gusto sa mga graduate.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, and I don't really know how to segue from that to this. These 3 teams of juniors and seniors will be asked questions about each other's generation, not their own generation, because what's the point of this game? Let's say hi to tonight's teams. First up, 11-year-old Ariel and her grandmother Beverly. Next, we have Eli, who is 12, and his grandfather Bruce. Welcome. And finally, Frankie, who is 11, and her grand aunt Ginger. Yes, very blonde. It's nice to meet all of you. So let's just jump in and start winning you some money. Okay.
Well, I am, first of all, hindi ko pa tawag way lang. So, or group, Mitchum Merafit. Dagan ko yung manungduman. Kami ni Caro, silingan, hindi ka pa sa inyo.
That means you're on deck. Are you
Grade 1, grade 2.
capture the flag, hide and seek, and kick the blank? Kick the ball. Eli for the
And
steal.
then, so yung na, wapa ko ma-senior, pero pagpunta diri ganina, diyan na po napit sa ang akong sakay, akong pagmang si tata na mag-sax. Ibulin akong laptop.
Let's kick the can. Yeah.
All of human behavior is essentially comprised of 2 things: running away from pain.
Sounds like grabe yun yan. Dito katrabaho ko sa Department of Science and Technology. Pero ano yung mga ko nila youngest. So, siya, youngest. Youngest niyo ba talaga? Protest. Joke. What's the number? It's in the heart and mind. Welcome everybody. Happy kaayo ko, kami. Yan ang tanan, nagtipok-tipok. And as Butch mentioned, Butch na siya hati. Butch yung tinuod niya nga lang, Butch yahan.
Courage, vulnerability, pain, and empathy. Wrote 5 New York Times #1 bestsellers, and her TED Talk is one of the most watched in the world. Please welcome Renee Brown.
Si Mama Ban siyang... Thank you, everyone.
Ay buntag kami yung tanan. Yung parent ko nga nakari karon sa ating pagkakutapon.
Hi. How's it going? It's so funny up backstage. They're like, "Can we take your purse?" I'm like, "No." Like totally a Texas thing where we always have to have my purse and an exit plan. I'm not sure until I walk out here that I'm actually going to do it. But I am so happy to be with y'all tonight. And I have to say, honestly, the older I get, the more I realize that time is the big, precious, unrenewable resource. Yes or no? So, thank you for spending it with me tonight. I really appreciate it. I think we're gonna have some fun, talk about some hard stuff, laugh a little bit, and hopefully learn something from each other. I'm always laughing when I'm listening to the bio that, you know, she studies shame, empathy, courage, and vulnerability. You have no idea how handy that comes in my life. So it really, not just in my work, but in my life, because how many of you know, I know, I recognize some of y'all, but so you know, so I know you know me, but how many of you know that I'm super introverted? Like, yeah, where are all the introverts? Like, it's super handy when I'm traveling because like I'll be sitting next to someone and sometimes I'm in the mood to chat and sometimes I'm not. And so they'll say, "So what do you do?" And if I'm not in the mood to chat, I'll be like, "I study shame, what do you do?" They're just like, "Meh." And then recently it was really funny because I was like, "Oh, I study courage and vulnerability." And the guy was like, "Oh, opposite ends of the spectrum." And there's that minute where you're like, do I engage or do I not engage? I was like, no, actually they're the same. You know, courage, you can't really be brave without vulnerability. It's like, oh, yeah, no, the opposite is. Now, I can understand why it's complicated for some people to get that. It took me 20 years of trying to disprove that I had to be vulnerable, to be brave. But I really, this came to life. We started looking at cover correctly, which was the first one of courage and vulnerability, right? So I say to them, let's make sure we really capture the spirit of vulnerability. We really have to put ourselves out there. And they're like, "We've got it. Do you need to see the cover?" And I was like, yeah, I need to see the cover. So the cover. I've named that piece "White Guy on a Wire." I was like, I would never buy that book. Had I known what was coming next, this would have been the cover of Dairy Queen. I guarantee it, because I go back and I'm like, that's not going to work. I don't want a white dude on the front of the book, period. Especially with like a 1980s briefcase. So then I get an email that says, "This is it. We all love it." And I'm like, oh man, dude, don't use your invisible army with me. Like, I'm a shame researcher. Like, you can't do the "we all love it" thing with me. Like, I will drill you down till you are crying. Who is the we? Unless you got a mouse in your pocket, that is chicken shit. Like, no we, just like, I love it. So I'm looking like, oh God, we all love it. We all think this is it. We're all excited. We're all behind it. So, you know, right? I'm going to test your empathic powers here. If you're really highly empathic, there'll be no laughter. I was like, what? Okay, so here's the thing, like every woman born in this country, I've had to do my share of body image work. To the point where I am dangerous. I like myself so much. Like I'm good with everything, right? Yeah. But the chance of my name being under an elephant ass, zero. Zero opportunity. It seems like crazy, right? You're like, oh, these are just early concepts and people are trying to, but let me show you, this book has been translated into like 32 languages. Let me show you some of the actual covers of how people conceptualize the relationship between courage and vulnerability. This is the Korean. This is the real actual, the funny thing about this is it was on my kitchen table in my house when my daughter and her friends got home from high school one day. And her friend was like, oh my God, does your mom know Johnny Depp? I do not. Okay, I totally love the Swedes. I really do. Like, I just love them. But they got the saddest cover in the whole world. Why did you do that involuntarily? Because this is the sign internationally for like abuse and neglect. And then we have the cover that completely jacked with my kayaking game because I love to kayak. I'm a water person, right? So when I saw this Lithuanian cover, I couldn't get in a kayak for 6 months. Not what I had in mind, but this is what people think. Okay. Here's where Daring Greatly actually comes from. Teddy Roosevelt. So the day the book came out, my husband put pictures of Teddy Roosevelt all over our house because the epigraph, like the quote that kind of is the spine of Daring Greatly, comes from Teddy Roosevelt. And so I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. My kids were like, is that Oprah? Is that Grandma? So here's the story. How many of you have seen the TED Talk on vulnerability? I totally wish I could take credit. It was me. It's not that I can't take credit for it, but it was a complete accident. So here's what happened. The curators of TEDx Houston, this was the first people to get the license in Houston, call and say, hey, we got the TEDx license. Would you like to open up TEDx Houston? And I was like, yes, my God, yes, thank you. I said, what do you want me to talk about? Because normally when you spend your career talking about things like shame and fear and scarcity, people get super prescriptive about what they want you to say and what they don't want you to say. And this guy was like, you know what? Whatever you want. You have fun, just crush it. Just have fun and just whatever you want. I was like, all right, I'll crush it, dude, I'll do that, okay. So I'm on a flight the day before TEDx Houston, coming home from Maui, where I had spent 4 days with CEOs from Silicon Valley talking about the importance of vulnerability, talking about courage and putting yourself out there. And I turned to Steve, who's my husband, on the flight. My kids are passed out. They went with us. And I said, I'm not going to do my normal talk tomorrow at TEDx Houston. And he's like, what? And I said, I'm not going to do my normal talk on variables mitigating self-conscious affect. And he's like, why not? And I said, I'm going to be vulnerable and talk about vulnerability. I'm going to just put my whole self out there. And he's like, why? Why would you do that? Which I think was a legitimate question. I said, because I just spent 4 days with these people trying to convince them to be vulnerable and put themselves out there. And then I'm going to walk on the stage in my academic armor, like, this is a variable that, because that's my training. And so I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just be vulnerable. So I got up there, and as many of you know, I was vulnerable. I talked about how I'm scared of vulnerability, how I hate it, how when it emerged from my data as the key to wholehearted living and loving, I totally had a breakdown. I went to a therapist with an Excel spreadsheet and said, here's what I need to work on. I had 6 weeks. It took like 8 years. And I did that. So when I drove home after giving the talk, I just remember thinking that was the worst 20 minutes of my life. Like, I had the worst vulnerability hangover that you can imagine. I thought, thank God it was just 500 people at the University of Houston.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Okay lang. Wala man. Wala, I'm good.
Right? And I go to
Yeah, but it's going away. I can feel it's going away. Marag effective bang kayo itong kuan? My coffee is kuan, di na kayo ubo. Yeah. Ay, nako. Ay, nako, gigutom ang gani ko. Kung saan yung tambalan ni makagutom man dahil dagway ni kay gigutom ko.
Dahon-dahon na gani ko. Dami diyan ang kuan, aros kaldo sa kuan. Sa banana leaf no?
Oh ba? Yeah, kuan, wala gigutom gani ko ganina gabi lagi di mo to ning ko ga. Lagi kagutom, gigutom ko sambal doon.
Dito, may report.
Yeah.
May sambal natin,
Koan. Dili. Paxlovid. Oh. Paxlovid. Balik. Yeah. Mayo siya. Mo ba?
Nakatawa ko dito sa kasi okay. Ambot nga no na appeal
The best way to describe Shane to me is
Shane
Shane
is
is
the slippy lady who walks over and spoke with people he knows. And they start saying such hurtful things about you that you don't know that you can ever walk back in and face them again. Because, you know, I blame him for losing the election to Biden.
He was not, you know, in my life up to that point. And he just paralyzed it.
But
I engineered smallness in my
that
life.
was,
I did not take
you
chances.
know,
I
that's
did
not
not
that
put
we're
myself
not
out there.
arguing
I
against
just
that.
didn't.
We're just
If I was
saying,
going to write an
you
op-ed,
know,
I sent it to DuPont
he
about
lost
New York
the
Times.
chance
I
of,
didn't.
he did well, but he wasn't able to get re-elected because he's so obnoxious. And he's not the only one who can do that. I mean, get somebody who's more flexed up.
Mao gyud.
Usaragot siya nga, Trump din siya tayo ngayon.
Oh, ba?
Gani, wala sa aster of matchoy din.
Oh my God. Ay.
Yan, na-miss balay po.
Amo ba?
Oh, langay-langay na lang. May kaya rin sa bantamigi ka din.
Mao gyud. Unya, unsa may inyong kuan?
Kasi, I think si kuan sana na ko adlok si Salome para sakpa.
Ibilin na niya sak. Ibilin na niya sak.
Oo. Masama na sila, pareman na silang macho yung ako. You see what you see the other.
Mao. Anyway, okay.
Get better.
Yeah. Ito ras nga trabaho magani ko. I'm doing my work.
You will take your mind away from that thing.
Mao, gatrabaho ko. I was working. Okay ra, sila Jura, si Wendy, si Joey, okay naman sila tanan. Ako ra may na igo gyud.
Dili na gyud ay na tayo ko contagious kay mo yun. Kung sa bagay, remember my son had it, na wa man mi matakdan.
Mao. Yeah.
I think that kuan lang gud ni if usually it is what we call this the droplets ba that transfer niya. Siguro ang resistance po ni mo dahil maybe wala siya ko.
Wa ko kabalo. No, I think na
test ka di pa sila kabalo. I mean, they have to have
dili, I think na down akong kuan. Akong lanta ni down akong resistance ato kay bali magong inita. Init kayo.
Yeah, I think so.
So muto wala nagukunaan na bulad og init.
Yeah, prescription nga matanam ko sa did you go to the doctor?
Oh yeah. Telephone
ra.
Telephone ra.
Yeah.
Mao.
So, kung ang pag-inom mo sa tuwid, I
Ay,
think resistance yun na, dahil ba?
resistance
Pareho ni
lagi.
flu na ay uban matakdan, ang uban dili. Kanya, I think kining strain karon is not really as kuan. Yeah, as sa una ba nga, ma-expose ra ka gamay ana. Katubag daghang kayo ni COVID yun.
Oh. Dili ako
Ay,
ni
ako, gadula ko tag di ba man di ay, you got it after that naman di ay.
oh. Dili ang akong duda ato kay katumang di init kaayo niya. Atong Tuesday, ni ato ni sa outlet kay nagkuan si Gerald pa-charge siya sa kuan Tesla. Unya, while there, nisulod ko sa kuan banana wrap sila ngadto Adidas kay palit lagi shoes ni Joey para klase. Unya, nanawag na sa aster na ako isya, mikuha na ni Gerald tong auto. Di akong sabot nga manlakaw na mi. So dito ko, sige kong paabot, mga 20 minutes under the heat, although landong, unya, wa pa day sila ka-shopping. Ingko, sa good ay mi. Di mura ko, dito ko na, kuan na igaan ba, kay tindog ra ko niya, init. I mean, the wind was kuan.
Pareto kag manguyos kuan ana. I remember I told you when we went there na 122 ang heat niya. Okay ra mene kuan kuyog ni pane kay ako kasulod ko while waiting for the car from Valley Park pa. Sulod ko ni ko taw ta ra mi pagkuan na kay init good kay sa gawas. Pero si Fanny, because something was wrong with the car, so pareto siya naminghoy. Kaya gani wala ra pud siya ma. I mean, wala dito ako siya ma-expose. Pero when you are like that,
yeah,
kuan,
gatindog ra ko dito. Mao gyud. Mao lagi. Mutay ay mo gutay akong duda may nakakuan ako. Kuan ako to kay may gani wa pagani ko ni apil nila adto sa kuan. Pool kay nangaligo man sila. Ya baling inita bisag na aka swimming pool. May gani wa pag ko ni adto dito sulabi na inuon dago. Ay,
hindi ba daan man kung nimo hala init ba kayo Las Vegas dahil yan mo kadira man mi manggawat.
Mao lagi butya ko to. Mo lagi tinuod. Ay nako, anyway.
Kay dito ra gyud umahimo ra. Naara ka sulod sa hotel, you will never really feel the heat.
Mao gyud. Pero matay day murag di nako kaagwantaan ng kasino ng baho sa sigarilyo. Oy.
Yes.
Mura na ko.
Kay mas smell guy. Makuan kay dan smoking ang entire casino and the hotel itself. Meaning pag-reserve nimo, they don't ask you whether you want the non-smoking because everything is non-smoking. All of it na, they should ka maka. And you don't see anyone smoking dito, no? Wala jud. Kay di man allowed. That's what attracted us to that casino. Kay sunod na ko Jesus, what jud kay mas smell kay kanang uban na sila mga non-smoking areas pero open ra ma-feel lagi hapon nimo mo kay atong pag-adto na mo sa Las Vegas na daghang kaayo kapalabi kang gambling and kuan daghang kaayo lain ra gud ang smoke na wa kamaan.
Lain na gud mura naging sus. Unya pag bali pud ang mga restaurants ito day ato mig kuan ato mig Caesars kay Monday sirado man ang Bellagio nga buffet. Okay? So ato mig Caesars, oh my God! Reservations na mga hotels, mga restaurants dito. Unya, gapa-reserve mi, matay. Ni ato may mga 7, ang among seating 9:30 pa. Ito ay pagpaangay dito. Oh my God!
Dito mi sa kuan, dito mi sa Venetian. Dili kaayo, mo reserve ka, pero karyo trachoy, no? Sa Venetian ba? Kaso bang mga unsa ba? Di matugay ang weight, di ba?
Depende sa kuan gagway. Pero dito,
Maybe, I don't know, it all depends siguro sa timing, di ba? Because we're there, but maybe ato me dito, dapat kong tao. Kita ko na yung dagang tao, pero kuan ang restaurant, kuan duha maguna palazzo
oh yeah, oo.
na daghang pa on both sides ba.
Oh.
Yeah, dito po sa ilang kuan, sa ilang shopping mall. Tapos sila tagsa, daghang wala may problema kaayo sa restaurant.
Okay, katong dito mi sa kuan sa Resort World. Okay man dito, di makaidaghang tao good. I think ang kuan, ang Caesars daghan mo mga tugiday dagway dito. Bisag expensive na kaayo na ning kuan. Expensive na kaayo ang
buffet.
Ang buffet, expensive na beverage.
And I remember, most of the hotels don't have buffets anymore.
Yeah.
So that's also one of the reasons. One naman, sa una, remember, most casinos had a buffet.
Lagi niya, mga to tapi itong M, di ba? Diha man ay M na kuan nga unsa na?
Lami man ang ilang buffet din ha.
Oh, niya, close. Wa na, gi-close down na the way atong pandemic.
Mao lagi daghang wala mo open. All casinos dito, even the rich, 90% of the casinos, they not open their buffet anymore. Karon ang may buffet na lang dagway ang what you call this? Yamaban na lang.
nila ang Gospel ni St. Luke chapter 19 verses 1 to 10. Kung makainom anak, balik ko nagbasa ng Bible. Ito lang si Kayo. No? Jesus is walking. Oh, there we go. Kayo was kanang a very little man.
O niya.
Pero siya sa mga Israelites because school effort. So, kontra mga nila mga anyway, the other day, that was last Wednesday, sa may katumang lamang gihilin na madrama itong sa kayo. So, nakastil nga, nalipay dyan ko. Ako mo gingon nila na, paano mo umigisal na? Because bisan makasala, si Jesus still loves us. So, itong Wednesday, nila ready with the presentation. Yung gamit ka ng story na akong gihatag nila in preparation for the profession. So, kung makakita nga na ay nakatunan atong mga bata. In other words, ang mga bata, karoon mga bata, so na nga kamang problema ng mga bata, hindi ang problema ng mga bata. It's dealing with them the proper way. I know nasaba ko ninyo many times probably, but you know di ay na mga saba ay